Hey guys, I'm Sherry Vegas, and in this tutorial we're going to be making these super cool alcohol ink and resin coasters. There's a few things you're going to need to get started. First up, you're going to need some alcohol inks. You can use whatever brand you like and whatever colors you like. I am using some Copic and some Pinata alcohol inks because that's what I've got on hand. Some yupo paper. So if you don't know, yupo paper works great with alcohol inks because it's actually a really slick surface paper which lets the alcohol inks glide across. So that's why they work so well together. Any sort of like paper that's got quite a porous surface to it, so like watercolor papers or anything like that, they won't work amazing with alcohol inks. So that's definitely not what you want to get. You're going to need some resin. I'm just going to be using the epoxy glass from Barnes, and I also got this new product in from Peebo, which I'll add a link in the description before, and that's going to help us create some really cool line detailing and effects. And just your general glue, tape, gloves, everything like that that you need to work with resin. Okay guys, so now we've got everything together, it's time to get started. If you do hear some thunder in the background, a big storm is about to roll in here. It's only 10 o'clock in the morning, but honestly, looking outside, it looks like it is nighttime. There is absolutely no sun and it's so overcast. So sorry if you do hear some background noises, but what better time than to do art when you have to be inside. So I'm just going to open up my yupo paper. For this, I'm pretty sure I can get it all done on 4 coasters done on one sheet. If you wanted to, you could spread it out and do 2 and then pick like the best bits. So I've got these wood coasters from Kmart. So I'm just going to take off a piece of my yupo. So I'm going to go for 2 different colors. I'm going to go for teal and pale green, I think, or maybe even include a little bit of spring green. I think I want to go for a really beautiful like green color palette. I'm going to add a bit of gold to this because I just love gold at the moment, and if you haven't watched any of my other tutorials, you know I always add gold into everything. But these are the colors that I'm going to go for. You can wear gloves, you don't have to, but honestly it stains your hands so much, this alcohol ink, that it's just best to wear gloves, and also do it in a really well ventilated area just because the alcohol does have fumes to it, or wear a face mask. Just going to put down some color extender from Pinata. You can also use pure alcohol. It's just kind of like your personal preference. I do have a full guide to sort of working with alcohol inks. So if you want to learn a little bit more about that, definitely go and check that out. And then I'm just going to place my teal down. My teal is really strong, so depending on how strong you want your colors to be, go less and build it up. That's what's great about alcohol inks, you can really build it up. And then add a little bit of my pale green. You don't want to add too much gold at the beginning because it does really disperse throughout all of the different colors. Now you have the option, you can tilt, blend them like that. You can also blow with a straw, or you can use a hairdryer. Just adding a little bit of that spring green in as well. And then just with my hairdryer, I'm just going to use it to blow around. I'm starting to get some really pretty patterns coming through, but I definitely want to create a bit more interest to this piece because I will be cutting it out. So I want each coaster to be quite interesting. So, but that is what is really great about when you work with alcohol inks, because you can keep adding, layering and building up. So you don't feel like you have to just, once it's dried the first time, you can't like change it. You can constantly play with this and create more patterns. So I've got some alcohol on this paintbrush, and I think I might dip it in a little bit just to create a different effect, to sort of blend out some of those lines. Cool, so I think I am now happy with that. It's a lot more blended than what it was before. Honestly, with the alcohol inks, it just comes down to personal preference. What I need to do now is let it sit for a bit and dry, and then I've got to coat it. I like to use two different coats before I put my resin over the top, because if I add resin to it now, it would reactivate the alcohol inks and move them and also change them. So what I do first is a coat with my Duramax, which is the semi-gloss clear coat, and then on top of that the UV resistance, and then let that set. But I'm going to probably let this dry for about an hour, maybe two, because of the weather, and then come back and spray those, and then after that I can cut them out and add them onto my coasters. It's been a few hours and this is nice and dry, so it's time to do my spray coats. So the first one that I'm going to use is the Duramax. This is to protect it, to stop it from reactivating. You want to make sure whatever one you do decide to use, that it doesn't have alcohol in it, or it's not going to react badly to your piece. So definitely worth checking out and trialing out a few spray coats. This one is just from Bunnings. And then for the UV protection, I'm just going to add the UV clear gloss on top. I would recommend doing this outside in a well ventilated area, or wearing a face mask, because it is a little bit fumey. Now the next step is just to mark out your coaster sizes and then trace that through. Because I don't want to accidentally get pen in the wrong spot, I'm just going to flip this over and then place my coasters on the back. You could also use pencil if you wanted to make sure that you're getting like a certain area of your pattern. So I'm just going to go around quickly and mark out my size. And then just make sure that they fit. And I'm just going to use some spray adhesive, or you could use PVA glue, any kind of glue, just to attach them. Now I'm going to add some detail. So I bought this off my Amazon store, and it's just basically like a textured gel. This is called the Vermilion, I think I'm saying that right, gold. And I thought it'd be really cool to do some line work before I apply my top coat of resin. So all I'm going to do is look at the patterns that have already been created with the alcohol inks, and then kind of just follow on from there. Alright, so it has been probably about 24 hours since I did my pour, and I've just removed all of the tape off the edges. All the tape did was just protect these wood edges, because I just thought these coasters were really nice how they were with the wood edges. I think these have turned out fantastic. They're really cool when you look at them up close, because you can kind of see that 3D line work in them that's been encased in the resin. The resin that I used was just an epoxy glass, just your for a normal art resin, and the reason why I went with that is just because I wanted a really nice glossy top coat that would dome and protect my alcohol ink layer underneath, and I think these have turned out really cool. Definitely will be creating some more of these, and you can customize them however you want. Do whatever colors that you want. If you want to do the line work, I think the line work is really cool because it does add that 3D element to them. Ooh, whoops, I just dropped that. But don't worry, they are nice and tough. But yeah, if you have any questions, feel free to leave it in the comments below. If you like this video, please give it a big thumbs up. It really does help me out. And if you've never done alcohol inks before, I will add at the very end a link to my beginner's guide to working with alcohol inks. And if you're new to my channel, please do subscribe, as I post new videos every single week, all to do with like arts, crafts, and DIY projects. Thank you guys so much for watching.